When I walk up in the club and sing, everybody want to know my name. Yeah, here comes the glass road. Yeah, here comes the glass road.
Am I back? More than likely, no. I am trying out my camera. I got this camera. I got some more lenses. I'm starting a business. I finally got my business cards in the mail. I can zoom in. Look at this. Wow, look at that. That's a miracle. Can you believe it? Wow. My other camera, I had to focus it with this thing, so I had to like stand there and be like, yeah. Don't get a photography camera if you make video. But now I have this camera. It's very expensive, very fancy. I don't have SD cards for it that actually work in 4K, so you're seeing me in HD. But someday you will see me in 4K. It will be very exciting. All I need is to go make $100. And now that I got my business cards, my business can actually launch. Like I'm going to actually be bringing in revenue next week. So that's exciting. I got a letter from the Inspector General or from their office. They say that we have thoroughly reviewed the material and concluded that the issues raised do not warrant an investigation by our office. Accordingly, we will take no further action regarding your correspondence and consider the matter closed. So the Inspector General's office, what do? According to this, the U.S. DOJ, Office of the Inspector General, investigates allegations of misconduct by employees and contractors of DOJ. So if the DEA does something wrong, they investigate it. But they've concluded the DEA hasn't done anything wrong. I mean, Joe Biden's now in charge, and what's happening? We're arresting people from other countries for selling drugs. Like we're getting people extradited from Colombia and from Mexico to the United States for selling drugs. So he's clearly cracked down on drugs during COVID-19. So he's very anti-drugs, clearly. But the DOJ, their job is, or this Inspector General, their job is investigating whether or not their employees are doing things wrong. So this guy, James Lamberth, who arrested me, who destroyed half the body cam footage, he's a retired DEA agent. He didn't do anything wrong when he destroyed the body cam footage, even though he would have got fired if people actually heard that body cam footage. You don't understand. Like, I talked to him for 30 minutes. I interrogated him like I interrogated the FBI agent, except he actually talked to me. And I was like, so you don't know who I am? I did a hunger strike in Colorado Springs protesting the DEA giving free drugs to middle schoolers. You don't know who I am? And like, I asked him a ton of questions. And then I was like, contact my boss. And I kept trying to tell him my boss's name, and he kept threatening to hurt me over and over again. I made a video about the missing body cam footage before I knew the body cam footage was missing. So before I submitted information to try to get the discovery for my case, I made a video about what this guy James Lamberth did to me, and it's on YouTube. It's time-stamped, and it clearly shows that I thought this guy did something, and then the body cam footage went missing. And if that body cam footage wasn't missing, there is no way in hell they could convince a jury beyond a reasonable doubt that these cops aren't corrupt. They would know it. Like, that's why he destroyed the body cam footage, because if he was at trial, everyone would know this guy's corrupt. And so the situation now is that the judge thinks it's funny that the FBI is so corrupt. Like, if you watch the court case where the judge gives me contempt of court, which, like, he needed to get me contempt of court. He needed to put me in jail so that he could, so that I'd be intimidated by the sheriff's department into taking their lawyer, because they wanted me to take this lawyer Kelly McCullough. And once I took that lawyer, she immediately went, "Oh, you're incompetent." And once I was declared incompetent, I don't have control of my own life. I don't have legal rights anymore. So they decided that so in my opinion, maybe the judge is a very upright, outstanding citizen. He's very moral. He's a military guy. He's a colonel. Maybe he wasn't trying to intimidate me into taking a lawyer so that they could declare me incompetent because I didn't break the law. Like, the felony menacing says that I threaten imminent danger, but if you read my letter, it says, please be careful. Don't fake like you're drawing a gun on me. And so clearly that's not threatening imminent danger. It's saying, please be careful. Don't fake like you're drawing a gun on a guy that has a concealed weapon that is constantly getting threatened. So the DOJ, apparently they've thoroughly investigated this. So the Austin bomber's confession, it exists clearly, without a doubt, right? So this guy Cody Yankee, who handed me a loaded pistol and then shot a cap gun at me, that was me hallucinating. So this guy that was waiting for me in the elevator at my hotel who said, I know you're driving north, that was a hallucination, right? So this guy that was waiting for me in my hotel room, when I first moved to Colorado, I drove from Texas to Colorado. What I did, because I didn't want to have danger in my life, I left early and then I drove all the way and I didn't stop. And the moment I got to my hotel room, someone told me that I'd been poisoned and I needed to go to the hospital. And he pointed to a guy that was dressed as an engineer. He was dressed like, he had a hard hat on, and I think he had like a collared shirt that had his company logo on it. He said, that guy looks like a doctor. It was like he was an undercover person that was there because they thought I'd been poisoned. They were worried that I was going to pass out. And he told me, don't drive to the hospital yet. We need to monitor you for a second. So that was me hallucinating, right? So when my hood went through my windshield, that wasn't a hallucination. That was just a coincidence. I'm talking about the other time I drove to Colorado. I don't drive to Colorado very often, but when I do, people try to murder me. I'm talking about when I was in Texas as an 18-year-old. I drove to Colorado. I ran into this guy, Brad. Shortly after that, my hood went through my windshield. That's not a hallucination. That's just a coincidence. So all these things that have happened, according to the Inspector General's office, this case is closed. This doesn't matter. Here's the thing. I know what has happened, and I understand that I'm taking one for the team. But here's the thing. I am actually a good person. And if there's anything that exists as a good person trying to save lives and trying to tell people, hey, COVID-19 is a biological weapon. It's very, very serious. And I've been warning you guys to take it more seriously, and no one's taking it seriously. And I've been trying to tell you guys a lot of things, and you haven't listened to me. Over and over again, you haven't listened to me. And what I told you is Pfizer and AstraZeneca are going to kill people. They're going to kill more people than the biological weapon, because the fact of the matter is you don't understand what you're messing with. And your science is primitive compared to our science. And what you did is you assume that your experimental drugs that you're giving to the masses, 2.5 million people in the United States are taking a vaccine per day right now. You think that it's safe. And the reason you think it's safe is because you don't want to talk about the Austin bomber, because you know there's no confession. That's the thing about this Inspector General. They can go look at the Austin bomber confession right now. The case is closed. They've seen it. I mean, it seems like he's part of this like Jewish community from Washington, D.C. I don't know where he's from, but it seems like he's part of that community, and they are all getting put in charge of everything. And it seems like clearly I'm wrong. I'm an incompetent person. I'm crazy, right? He's a very moral person, right? All right. So we'll see if this video actually works. I'm not going to continue making videos. This is a test video. If it actually works, I'll post it. If not, this is crazy. It's crazy when you contact that many people from the FBI and then you realize that there's something about the psychology of a cop. There's something about the way that they are, which is they're above the law and they won't admit when they've made a mistake. They won't admit when they've done something wrong. I am so quick to admit when I do things wrong, and I think that's why I'm one of the leaders of my people, because they want a king who will tell them what is actually going on. They don't want a king who's going to cover up and then lead them into a bad situation without them understanding the situation they're in. Some people want the truth, some people don't. Joe Biden talked about it. Someone talked to him and was like, I just want the truth. And Joe Biden is like, well, I'm going to tell you the truth. Like, I can't believe he talked about that in his speech. It was unbelievable, because the truth is this came from the United States, and it's pretty embarrassing for a lot of us. And there are some of us that are trying to save lives, and there are some of us that spend 20 hours a week begging for money. Because I'm serious, Congress people, senators, when you're wondering why they don't care, why they won't tell you the truth, it's because they are the type of people that will spend 20 hours a week begging for money. Do you realize that if I spent 20 hours a week begging for money, there's nothing else I could do with my life. I would be so exhausted. I would be so pissed off all the time. All that would exist is my begging. And so when you're wondering what's wrong with the United States government, they're a bunch of beggars. They're corrupt. They are fascist. And that's I think more than anything, that's why the court system thought they could get away with this, because I decided to be Antifa. And why did I decide to be Antifa? Because I saw the government saying that these people didn't have constitutional rights, even though they're American citizens, because we're going to classify them as terrorists. You're a terrorist, and therefore you don't have constitutional rights. It's just like me. I don't have constitutional rights. I don't have a right to a speedy trial. I don't have a right to a fair trial. I don't have a right to a lot of the amendments. So that's life. It's crazy when you realize that we have that disgusting of politicians, and more than anything that the cops are that bad too. I mean, I just can't believe there are that many of them that have covered up for this. But hopefully people from the media will do something, but I haven't been contacted by a single person from the media. You know why? Because my communications are censored. It's life. All right, I'm out. Peace.